You ever heard the term, the black vote? So it's okay to put us in one net, but it's not okay for me to put them in one net.
What?
Yeah, but I mean,
the black vote? That's not putting you all in one net. What?
God is using me. He's breaking me down so I can serve him.
God is totally hyping you up, Kanye, so that you can serve his will of bashing Jews. It's not like Jews were God's chosen people throughout the entire Old Testament or anything.
I thought I was more Malcolm X, but I find out I'm more MLK because as I'm getting hosed down every day by the press.
No, you're not more MLK. You're more not okay. You're off your rocker right now. Okay, the voices inside your head, you think it's God whispering to you.
In 2018.
What do you mean it's not?
what do I mean? Like, okay, so how about, are you leaving?
Are you afraid of the press?
He's gone.
That's what caused him to storm off? I was expecting a little bit more of a confrontation beforehand. So much for just asking questions. Now, most of you are aware that at the end of 2020, I was on Tim Pool. We don't like to talk about it here on this channel, primarily because, well, I didn't do quite so good. Probably could have done a little better. But anyway, you guys know, I went on Tim Pool and didn't do so great. This was before I had really taken seriously learning more rhetoric and learning how to debate better. And I was very, very underprepared and under-equipped to be on Tim Pool's podcast. Pretty embarrassing, but at the same time, what can you do other than try and learn from it, which is what I did because I saw that I fucked up. I didn't like that I fucked up, and I figured, you know what? I'm going to start being a little more humble. I don't think I actually have this the way that I think I do, and I'm going to start being real serious about learning how to debate and being more rhetorically effective. And so, in a way, the Tim Pool experience, although bad and embarrassing, has also been something I'm very thankful for because it forced me to become better at what I want to do. So that is important to me. Now, it has come to my attention that Kanye West was on Tim Pool, and he got rather angry and stormed off the podcast. Now, upon seeing that, of course, I was very shocked, but also a little bit relieved, because finally, I'm not the worst person that Tim Pool's ever had on his show. Yes! I'm now the second worst person he's ever had on his show. Fuck yeah, winning! So, other than that, helping me out. I have not watched this yet because I've been waiting for you guys. All right, I've been edging myself, just really wanting to watch it, waiting to watch it till I'm on stream. So let's go ahead and tune in and see what happens when Tim Pool decides to host Dumb, Dumber, and Dumbest. We have Dumb being Milo Yiannopoulos, we have Dumber being Kanye, and then we have Dumbest being Nick Fuentes. Just a whole clown car of chuckle fucks sitting down on this podcast. Let's go ahead and find out what happens.
You know, what were Trump's intentions? Why were certain people invited? And Trump, of course, has issued statements. So a lot of people want to know where he stands and, more importantly, what happened there and why. And there's also the questions about what Yay 24 means, and I'll keep that a little bit vague so that they can answer to that and speak more to that. And then, of course, we're going to get into a lot of different issues. However, head over to timcast.com and become a member. We're going to have a members-only uncensored show, which will probably get support.
Next.
There you go. I've mentioned is we have Yay himself. Would you like to introduce yourself, good sir?
You did it.
There you go. I think everybody knows who you are. And which you gentlemen would like to introduce yourself?
Nicholas, please.
Hi, yeah, I'm Nick Fuentes. First time here on the Timcast. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you do?
Oh, I'm a live streamer. I do a show called America First on cozy.tv.
All right. And of course, Milo, you were here a couple weeks ago.
Yes, I'm your best ever guest.
So we've been told that the episode with you was one of the best podcasts ever. People really enjoyed hearing you speak.
I think that's accurate.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
thanks for coming back.
Thanks. I was wondering how I was going to make it even more extraordinary the second time I visited, but I think I might have pulled it off.
Luke's here.
Total sausage fest tonight. Welcome. My name is Luke Radowski of wearechange.org. Today I'm wearing my Epstein Didn't Epstein Himself t-shirt, which you could get on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. And I think we should be using that word a little bit more, just like, you know, this YouTube channel didn't Epstein itself.
This is a rather boring intro. We get it, okay? Milo Yiannopoulos, his brand is being super flamboyantly gay and arrogant. Nick Fuentes looking like a typical basement dweller, wearing a blue sweater that his grandma probably knitted him before she inevitably never wanted to speak to him again. And Kanye West. Okay, let's move on, please.
I was talking to Trump for about a month. We had scheduled the dinner, in October, and then he announced for president. He pushed the dinner back to November, and
Yes, the video is sped up slightly, but it still seems to be dragging on.
I've been pulling together a campaign. And after I put up the DEF CON tweet, a bunch of people that have been canceled, like Alex Jones, I started getting in contact with other people that were now on the inside of the matrix. And Alex Jones, producer, said that Milo wanted to contact me. And
Very interesting. So right off the bat, the other side of the matrix. I like how the anti-Semites and the red pill people sort of like intersect in certain ways. You know, you would think that maybe they're kind of just in their own little realm of degeneracy, but no, instead they trickle into each other. You know, it's the Matrix. Hey, I heard Andrew Tate say that. Maybe the Jews are behind the Matrix. Okay. Kanye, do you ever wonder if maybe it was a bit odd that after you tweeted about going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people, suddenly you were being contacted by known white supremacist neo-Nazi with the neo-dick, small dick Fuentes, and Milo Yiannopoulos, the guy who got canned because he unironically supported grooming, and also Alex Jones. Do you wonder if maybe that's a little concerning? Have you ever heard the saying, you are who you hang out with? Have you ever heard that one, Kanye?
So that's how you guys got in contact.
Yeah, originally, and then I suggested that we bring in Nicholas as a enormous extra brain firepower that he is. Most extraordinarily brilliant political commentator of his generation, and he's been treated just about as badly as anybody. So I thought he deserved to be in the room too. And yeah, that's pretty much how we got together.
So I have some questions about that, but we'll get through the dinner portion of how exactly this happened, what went down. So this is how you get in contact, the three of you. How is it that Nick ends up invited to this dinner, and what happened?
well, he was rolling with me. I was impressed with Nick, and I was like, just come to the dinner. And we had Karen Giorno pick us up from the airport. And there was a lot of back and forth. There's another gentleman named Jamar Montgomery that was with us. He's an engineer at Boeing, and who's it?
I'm telling him we should raise everyone's volume.
Okay, cool. And we sat there, and it was like when Trump came in, I said, do you want to sit alone? He's like, no, bring your friends in. So a big thing is like Trump had no idea who Nick Fuentes was. But this whole, I just got to go right to the heart of this anti-Semite claim that's happening.
Oh boy. Hang on to your butts, everybody. It's about to happen.
This is something, if you read the definition, it says you can't claim that there's multiple people inside of banks or in media that are all Jewish, or you're anti-Semitic. And that's the truth.
Wait, hold on. What definition says that, Kanye? Did you have a dream maybe and mixed it up with reality? What the fuck are you talking about? It's not anti-Semitic to recognize that there are disproportionate amounts of Jews in banking or in Hollywood or in media. That's fine to acknowledge. The problem is when you say that because there are disproportionate amounts of Jews in these positions, they also are then a monolith who are thinking the same way and are all kind of working together more or less to conspire against the country, whether that is flooding the country with the woke degeneracy, or maybe it's getting rid of borders so that more brown people come in so that the white race will be wiped out. Regardless, if you believe there is a cabal of Jews controlling things, all pushing for one specific agenda, that's the anti-Semitism, Kanye. It's not anti-Semitic to say that there are disproportionate amounts of Jews in media, just like it's not racist to say there are disproportionate amounts of black people in prison. But it would be racist if I then said the reason is that all black people think the same way and they're all trying to enact their criminal agenda on us. That would suddenly be racist, because now you're essentializing people. And for you, it's anti-Semitic because you're essentializing Jews as all having the same belief system and all being behind some specific agenda. That's the anti-Semitism.
And in general, America has been left ignorant and history has been changed. So when we start questioning things that question the indoctrination, then you immediately get, you said debanked, or what did you say happened to you? Or
Demonetized, deplatformed.
Demonized, demonetized. And what's so beautiful about this time is everyone got to see what's really been happening. And now we can really understand. We can see that Ron Emanuel was right next to Obama, and then Jared.
Wait, no. What we're seeing is that you are a crazy person who should never have gone off his meds. That's the only thing we're seeing what's happened here, Kanye.
Ron Emanuel was right next to Obama, and then Jared Kushner was right next to Trump. Ta-da!
But
Isn't it conveniently strange how some people there were Jewish? Like that's the JQ, guys. The idea, again, that all the Jews who were beside the president were all somehow behind the same type of agenda. That's the JQ, dipshit.
So, so we're getting right into it, I guess, right? I was hoping to go for the news first before we got into all of this stuff. I think the issue is one way to put it is you're expounding upon a localization issue that you've witnessed, right? Let me clarify. There are a handful of people that you see are Jewish in a certain place, and then you associate Judaism with the power, whereas I view that as not relevant to it. Like, yeah, you're substantially more powerful than I am, but I don't view what you're doing as an issue of black people.
Actually, that's a good point from Tim, and that's accurate as well. I've said the same exact thing. Even if you can demonstrate that Jews are, even if you're demonstrating that somehow there are like a large group of Jewish people that are all trying to push for some kind of an agenda, even then you would have to substantiate what that has to do with them being Jews. Why couldn't you say this is a evil cabal of men or white people? You could group these people on the basis of various different qualities. And so for you to just hone in on, well, they're all Jewish, wink, wink, curious, no? Then it comes off anti-Semitic.
You ever heard the term the black vote? So it's okay to put us in one net, but it's not okay for me to put them in one net.
What?
Yeah, but I mean,
the black vote? That's not putting you all in one net. What? No, that's saying like black people voting. Okay. Conservative struggles learning words. Example number 9,000. Okay. Yup, that's it, guys. You see, because I don't even know what to say. It's not putting black people in the net to say the black vote. That just means who black people are primarily voting for. And if a candidate receives the most votes from black people, they would have won, quote unquote, the black vote. Just like people can say the Gen Z vote. Nobody's saying that black people all think the same. Nobody's saying that the black vote is always going to be for this specific thing because all black people have the exact same mindset because they're all a monolith. Nobody's saying that.
This is the hypocrisy that people have been thinking about and knowing about and realizing for decades. We were all wondering how this dam was going to break. Everybody in the country was wondering, what is the root of this hypocrisy? Why can people talk about white people a certain way? Why can't they talk about that group a certain way? And the wretched and wicked and oppressive prevailing orthodoxy of cancel culture, well, it turned out that the one thing that was going to break the dam was the biggest star in the world. And it took the biggest star in the world to do it. And now the dam is broken.
So let me tell you my issue.
This is just so fucking cringeworthy. Oh my God. I like how Kanye just gave like the worst example imaginable, and then Milo's just like, this is the hypocrisy of the left. You can see from the hubris of the left that they obviously are understanding that cancel culture is going too wrong.
I don't like identitarianism. You guys are familiar with what that is?
Well, they started it, and they've been visiting on us. We're trying to break it.
When I was asking you about running for
Who started it? Who started it, Milo?
president, you immediately said, well, you'd be good for the black vote. And I said, is that because I'm black? No, not just because of that. So is that, are you doing the same thing?
I didn't say that was the only reason. I said it was because you're personable to the common person and you probably would do well with the black vote. Absolutely.
Just because I'm black, because a lot of black people don't like me.
Of course. I think race plays a role in a lot of things. Absolutely.
I really like how he's able to see how it's harmful in certain degrees to expect that because he's black, for example, he might just get the black vote because he's saying it right here. Kanye is literally acknowledging that, well, hold on. Black people are not a monolith. There's different beliefs. So even Kanye's recognizing right here, right now, hey, not all black people are a monolith. Just if I'm black doesn't mean all the other black people are going to vote for me. Why can you not do that with Jews, Kanye?
And I think that's for.
I think the construct of race has really been forced upon us as just something for us to be woke about and just constantly talk about and use it as these like walls.
Could you say the same thing about Judaism?
Well, let's look at the facts of what I'm saying though. If you say,
I don't even know what that means. Like, there's definitely something to be said that race and the way that we categorize race is obviously a social construct. I like how he starts with like more of a lefty view on things with it being social construct, but then twists it into just the, not even right wing, it's just the clown view of things. He goes from, well, race is kind of a social construct that's been propped up to reinforce the woke programming that are going to come for all of your children in preschool.
in this neighborhood where they gerrymander this amount of time. So, hey, I wasn't doing that. I was just gerrymandering the lawyers and the Hollywood executives and the people at the bank that debanked me and then froze my accounts. You know, it's like we want to jump into protecting the idea that we can't put a net around something, right? But that's been my job as a producer, to take, you know, a Roy Ayers sample and put a James Brown drum and put it within a 2-minute, 3-minute song. That's the way I actually think, and that's the way I talk. And now this morning,
So it's bad to put a net around black people, but what you do best is putting nets around people?
here comes Adidas with a $275 million bill for marketing funds that they agreed upon. Because I said to them, hey, I'm the marketing, give me the marketing fund, which proves by the response they got when they, you know, stole the designs and said, we're going to not call them Yeezys anymore. So this is what I was already fighting Adidas for. So I'm fighting Gap, get out of Gap, fighting Adidas. And then I deal with this little bit of noise from, you know, Zionism from the fashion world, where they use this plant named Gabby, who's obviously like some kind of CIA agent, knows nothing about fashion. This is a certain thing. When someone can't dress, you know that they're not like a fashion person. They're just there as like the society, like the control that they try to use with celebrities, which has now been broken, right? Because you know where it broke. Okay. I want to get
Kanye, here's a helpful tip for the interview. And I know that I fucked up on Tim Pool, so I'm probably in no real position here, but don't sniff cocaine before getting on an interview. That's a really good piece of advice. I know it can be tough, can be a bit of a struggle. Don't do it, okay? Just wait till afterwards to sniff that line. Because what the fuck are you talking about right now? You can tell when somebody's not fashionable that they're a CIA agent? What? Well, I guess Nick Fuentes is a CIA agent, because the little bit that we saw him in the beginning, he looked like a fucking basement-dwelling weeb. I guess I'm a CIA agent, because what if you're like half decently dressed? What if you're like, you're not exactly fashionable in like a Hollywood sense, but you're also not, you know, walking around looking like a homeless person. You're kind of like me, just right in the middle. Am I like half CIA? Do I still get a check from the CIA? That's the real important question. He's just rambling and making shit up. I genuinely don't know what he's talking about.
you know, like LeBron and celebrities, which has now been broken, right? Because you know where it broke.
Yeah, and then what does he mean too, that like they are there to watch the celebrities? What? Like Taylor Swift's about to go out to her concert and she's like, all right, I'm getting ready. And suddenly a poorly dressed and poorly groomed young man walks up to her and says, you must recite the LGBT anthem or no shekels for you. I don't know what you're talking about.
You owe a lot of taxes. Took me like 6 hours to find out how much a lot was. They said, well, around $50 million. Now I'm going to different CFOs like, okay, so would this be tax evasion? Because I'm obviously not the most financially literate person on the planet. I was just a child, basically. Like when you become famous, you stop growing at that point. I became famous at age 24 and I had handlers around. I had my mom around, different things. And it was always like you go from one handler to the next handler to the next handler. So now I'm having, I get to actually learn how to run a company. I get to learn how to, to count. Really, I was like Pablo in a movie. It was like I didn't even know where to put the money, like literally making $300 million cash, but you're just like a high priced, we're not going to use the S word just because it's like too passe to use it. But it's like next year I was supposed to make $500 million in royalties. And like no one needs this amount of money. But when I would work on homeless shelters and ideas, I'd have a contractor, we won't say what race, and they'd be tearing down the contracts. It's all about, position. It's not about the amount of money that you have. And, to come in here, I feel like it's a setup.
What? This just in. The CIA doesn't dress well, and Jews don't like homeless people. Wow, you learn something new every day. Okay. I genuinely have no commentary. Like, this is literally listening to the deranged ramblings of a madman. Grandpa, get off the podcast, go pop your fucking pill, and check into a therapist's office.
Up to be like defending. I'm not going to go through another, like I'm literally going to walk the F off the show if I'm sitting up here having to, talk about, you can't say that it was Jewish people that did it when every sensible person knows that. I mean, Jon Stewart knows what happened to me and they took it too far. It was like American History X. Like my head was on the side of the curve and the exact people that
No, the problem is not that it was a Jewish person that did this. The problem is that because some Jewish people are at top positions in these companies that decided to can you for being incredibly controversial, saying shit that was factually wrong, and bringing a giant PR nightmare to the company, you're saying the Jews did this. It's not even like, hey, a Jewish guy kicked me out. It's like, because a Jewish guy was mean, all Jews are like this. They're conspiring. Like, you're not even halfway there, Kanye. I wish that I were on here. I wish, honestly, it would be so much fun to go on here and argue with Kanye West about the Jewish question thing. He doesn't know shit. And they always do this, by the way, where they hide behind the, well, Jews do have a lot of power, right? Oh, are you anti-Semitic now? Curious. They always try to hide behind that. The typical Mott and Bailey, right? Where the Mott is, hey, you know there's a lot of Jews in disproportionate positions of power. And then the Bailey is, because there are a lot of Jews in positions of power, they all think exactly the same. They're all a monolith, and they're an evil cabal, and they're trying to cancel people that push against their matrix. Do you see the difference there? Little bit? All right, it's one of those fun activities you see in a kid's magazine. Search and find the differences.
They tried to medicate me. I was exhausted. They wrongly diagnosed me. And they when I asked them, how much lithium did you want to put me on exactly? It took them 4 days to answer because they were embarrassed about the amount, right? And I refused to take this, right? You understand that if I had taken the medication, I would not be here, and it would have been, oh, he was deeply troubled. We miss him. We love his music, though.
Well, they would have Britney Spears you. I mean, look.
They would have Michael Jackson.
Or worse, yeah.
So
Look what they did. Look what they did to Britney. When she went in, she was tired, she was exhausted, she was in a bad way. But 10 years of that medication wrecked her brain. You can see it now. You can see there's not much of her left.
You mentioned Pasternak was the name.
Yes, Harley Pasternak. That's the text message that he posted that we were talking about before.
That's the lobotomy friend.
Yeah.
Before the show, obviously, I'm getting a bunch of messages from people. People are hitting me up, and they're like, "You shouldn't host them. They're anti-Semitic. They're white supremacists. They're racist." I do find it funny or weird, whatever, that Nick, they call you white supremacist. You're here working with or for one of the most powerful black men, one of the wealthiest and most famous. But a lot of people.
I'm not an identitarian or anything, guys. I don't really hold to that. Interesting how you're a white supremacist who's also willing to work with a black guy when he is literally reiterating one of the most long-standing white supremacist conspiracy theories involving Jews. I find that rather curious. Anyway, Tim Pool, man, he's right to push Kanye the way he is, but then he just has his moments, Yeah, the clown nose comes out.
I don't care about people. Those are bots that are trying to tell you. We realize, look at Pence.
Oh my God.
He sold Trump out. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I would have never wanted to do anything that hurt Trump. I'm on Trump's side. Trump said things that hurt me. He lied about me, but I mean, he's known for lying. And when people used to tell me that, he's a liar, it's like, I went into the trenches for Trump. That's another conversation. There was no one in my position that wore that hat, and all of my surroundings exhausted me. It was like death by 1,000 questions. I know I'm jumping.
Oh, doesn't it suck so bad when you simp for some person and then they still let you down? Damn. Weird how you literally just admitted how you were warned repeatedly that Trump isn't a good person to associate with, but you still decided to, quote, go in the trenches for him by wearing a fucking hat, and now you're mad because you feel betrayed. Like, this is insanity here.
Jumping to another thing. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I know you got a rep for your people online, but it's you got a person in real life that I'm not with it, bro. I lost the money for the freedom of speech, and that's what makes me the only American that we know that really deserves to run the country. Because everyone else, your boy DeSantis, Trump, whoever they raise in a petri dish over on the Democrat side, is going to play the game.
Look, and, here's what I was trying to get to.
I like now how Trump is part of the Democratic ploy. Remember how it was like, I like Trump because he's against the establishment. Yeah. And now all of a sudden it's like, Daddy Trump was made in a petri dish, guys. I don't know exactly why, but I was tripping balls on some shrooms, okay? And God gave me a vision. Just trust me, bro.
You went right into the anti-Semite thing. I think it's something that should be talked about. But if you start bringing this up, you're going to ask my opinion on it. I'm going to disagree with you.
I didn't ask your opinion on it. You jumped into it. But I don't care about your opinion. I like your opinion on how we win an election, but I don't care about anybody's opinion, bro. I lost. They tried to put me in jail. They blocked $2 billion I had, like what I told Farrakhan. I said, look, is it anti-Semitic for me to say his name out loud? Like I told
minister.
Yeah, the minister. Like I told
Obama met with him too.
Oh, he was.
This is so bad. Why can't you just call out the individual? I mean, this is the same type of thing the same type of mindset that justifies racism, right? This is literally the same type of argument as, hey, one time I was robbed by a black guy, so I am really careful around black people because they could be criminals, guys. Like that's the problem. You're doing it.
Farrakhan said, well, did he have the money? The contract for the next 4 years, if I hadn't done anything, would have been $500 million a year for 4 years. What I was fighting for was the IP so my children could, I'm sorry, just sometimes I think about 7 thoughts at one time, because anything I see, I come up with like 7 answers
We can tell.
to it and then just choose what it is. But the thing is, when I said my children, the reason why my brain kind of blocked, because it's like God is saying, your children are going to be okay. Baby mama's got money, right? God is using me. He's breaking me down, removing all of the, richest person, all of this, so I can serve him. And the more and more those things are taken away from me, the more I can be empty and be a vessel.
Amen. God is totally hyping you up, Kanye, so that you can serve his will of bashing Jews. It's not like Jews were God's chosen people throughout the entire Old Testament or anything. It's not like Jesus Christ himself was a Jew or anything like that. No, clearly you are the embodiment of God's holy, perfect plan. Wow.
I thought I was more Malcolm X, but I find out I'm more MLK, because as I'm getting hosed down every day by the press.
No, you're not more MLK. You're more not okay. You're off your rocker right now. Okay, the voices inside your head, you think it's God whispering to you.
Yeah.
I think they've been extremely unfair to you.
Who is they though? We can't say they is, can we?
Press. I'm not using I don't use the word as the way I guess you guys use. I'm talking
It is
about
them, though, isn't it? I mean, because because when you think about
Nick for chiming in. All right, don't worry. Kanye's got backup. The known neo-Nazi.
it, consider it. In 2018.
What do you mean it's not?
What do I mean? Like, okay, so how about, are you leaving?
Are you afraid of the press?
He's gone. I'll say it right now.
Wait,
you
that's
guys,
it?
you
Kanye
guys
stormed. Wait, that's what caused him to storm off? I was expecting a little bit more of a confrontation beforehand.
Who is they though? We can't say they is, can we?
press. I'm not using I don't use the word
So
as
Tim says, "Who's they?" Public press. He's not using it like a they are controlling everything. Public press. What's wrong with this?
the way I guess you guys use. I'm talking
It is
about
them, though, isn't it? I mean, because
No.
and because when you think about it, consider it. In 2018.
What do you mean it's not?
What do I mean? Like,
I like how Nick tried to start getting in there like, now let me go back to the good old days when the Holocaust was occurring. Now let me tell you how, okay, wait, what are you talking about here, bro? And he's just like, okay, I'm being quiet now. Yeah, this is exactly how I was treated last time I went on that furry date. Shut up and take it. I know. Kanye storms off over nothing right now.
what do I mean? Like, okay, so how about, are you leaving?
That's it.
Are you afraid of the press?
So much for just asking questions, Pepe.
Here's my pain. Here's my software. I'm gonna say, I hear you. And then he's gonna say, and it was Jewish people. And I'm gonna be like, okay, but don't you consider? So I'm not gonna do this. I
gotta
refuse.
Go, make sure he's cool.
All right, go for it. Luke and I will have a conversation. So I can't say I'm surprised. What do I even do?
So again, we should be able to have this conversation.
Milo's
What's up, Chris?
probably out there comforting, consoling him, you know. There, Kanye. It's okay. It is the Jews, buddy. It is. Come here. Give me a big hug. It's okay. It's all right, okay? It is the Jews. You were right. You were right to point out the big, mean Jews. Good job, Kanye. It's okay. Can I give you a blowjob, Kanye? Kanye's such a little bitch. I'm surprised. What happened, man? Kanye, I thought you were God's tool. Instead, you acted just like a tool. These were relevant questions, and they weren't even pressing questions. They were just like normal, non-invasive questions. Well, who's they? Do you mean Jews or do you mean the media? Well, this is why I don't agree with you. This is why, and he's just like, I'm done, okay? Fuck you. I'm out of here. I'm triggered. I'm going back to my safe space. What a snowflake. I've been saying for a while now, Kanye West is insane. He's deranged. This is why we've been following his inevitable demise here on this channel now for the last month or two. And yet, this is like the worst yet for him. Because now, it's like, I'm this really confident guy who's not afraid to say what I need to say about them. And then a simple question is asked. Excuse me, Kanye, who is them? I'm done with this. Fuck you, Jew. I just don't understand it. It's so embarrassing. Okay. All right, Kanye. Well, clearly God is working wonders through you. I guess we'll just, for a different name for Xanax, Percocet, cocaine. We'll just call that God, okay? God is working so well through you, Kanye. Congratulations, my friend. I have so much confidence in your ability to be president. If you get elected, cocaine forbid, I could just see you storming out of the meeting the minute the military general is like, Mr. President Kanye, we can't just firebomb Israel, sir. That's not going to be good, actually. I think that this is going to cause a lot of conflict in the Middle East. I'm done with this fucking bitch. Get out of here. There you guys have it. Kanye West storming off of Timcast because questions are forbidden. Unless, of course, it's Kanye who's just asking questions.